Hi, this is Frode, and welcome back to Actualize Notes TV. Oh, sorry, I can't hear you. But in that case, you've come to the right place. Because today you'll learn how to develop your authentic voice, so you can express yourself most fully and create something that will deeply resonate with people and will stand the test of time. These big ideas come from the great book, Louder Than Words, by Todd Henry. Louder Than Words, subtitle, Harness the Power of Your Authentic Voice. Todd Henry truly knows his stuff about creativity. He is the founder of Accidental Creative, which is a company that helps people and organizations discover brilliant ideas. My kind of guy. He's also the best-selling author of The Accidental Creative and Die Empty, books you can expect a feature on in the future. And in this book, he helps us harness the power of our authentic voice, as the subtitle suggests. And if you're into creative work, which can be studying for a degree, creating a business, writing a book, or creating an awesome life, and if you want to make a dent in the universe, then I think you'll love this book. Now, let's actualize and start with our first big idea, voice engine. Todd says that we need to use our voice engine, which consists to develop our authentic voice. And it consists of these three things: identity, vision, and mastery. If we want to develop our authentic voice, we need to cultivate these three. And they are characterized by one question each. Identity has, who are you? What is it that is personally meaningful? Your work needs to be grounded in something that you find meaning in. And then, the vision. Where are you going? You need to have a general sense of where you're going, what impact you want to have through your work. And Todd says that many great creatives didn't know exactly where they were going and have their plans perfectly mapped out, but they had a general sense. They had a North Pole towards which they were going. They had a general sense of direction. And then, mastery. How will you get there to where you're going? You need to what skills do you need to develop, and what platforms do you need to develop to be able to capitalize on the opportunities that come up through doing your work. So think about each of these three. Which of them are you best at? And which of them are you weakest at? And think about these as we go through practical ideas on how to develop each of these. Here we have identity for run your race, vision for U-shape, mastery for aspiration gap, and mastery for emulate. So we'll start with run your race to develop our identity. Todd says that each of us has unique interests, skills, experiences, opportunities, and therefore we can't compare our race to anyone else. We are running a unique race in a world of creative endeavors. And if we start envying people or comparing ourselves against them, we will lose sight of our own end, where we are going, and we will lose touch with ourselves. In his book, Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu said that if you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are. And this is really about being restless. About 2,000 years ago, the author Seneca said that, used the word euthymia to describe that sense of calm tranquility you have when you know that you're walking your own path, instead of being so worried about all of the paths that are crisscrossing yours. Here are all the other people that are doing their stuff, but what you need to do is to continue your own path, because you know where you're going. You have a general sense of vision, and you have an identity, so you know who you are, and what you want, what's meaningful to you. So think about this. My race is to do my work here at Actualize as best as I possibly can to help people actualize. What is your race? Don't get distracted by the shiny objects that are ever present in our daily society. Our third big idea is U-shape. Todd uses a really great story in the book about how every creative process works. It goes through a U-shape. So just imagine that you start out on a project. You're right here. You are fired up. You can clearly see the end of where you're going. And it seems really exciting. So you start out on this path really energized. And you go down the valley. And quite soon you see that it was a bit harder than you thought it was. And when you come to the bottom of the valley, well, you lose sight of your vision, of your end goal, because there are a lot of trees that are blocking your path. And at this time you kind of feel depressed. Nothing is going your way and you're wondering why you're even trying. But then you see a clearing through the treetops and you can see the end. So therefore you decide to continue. And when you end the bottom of the steep incline, you see that yes, it's going to take a lot of hard work to get up all these steep hills, but I'm willing to do it because I can clearly see my vision. So you start hustling up the incline, and when you finally arrive, you look back onto the spot you were before you started your journey with newfound respect. Because you have reached your vision, and you also have a better sense of who you are. And therefore, you're in eternal bliss. But Todd says that in any creative project, writing a book, studying for some exams, or maybe raising children, it could be anything, we are going through this U process. There's things in the beginning, there will be peaks where everything seems so clear that you want to tell everyone about your plans, and there will be valleys where you are questioning why are we even trying. But we need to embrace the process and know that U-shape is part of it. There will be peaks and there will be valleys. Where are you right now? Alright, our fourth big idea is aspiration gap for cultivating our mastery in our voice engine to develop our authentic voice. Alright, the aspiration gap. Todd says that the aspiration gap is the gap between what you're capable of and what you want to create and what you're actually capable of. There's usually a gap between those two. Because sometimes you want to try to create something really cool and you try to do your best, but it falls a bit short. It's okay, but it's not really at that level you want to. And he says that we all need to go through this process of closing the gap as our number one goal. And this takes years, maybe even decades, and sometimes it never ends. The process of mastery, of closing the gap. And he uses a really fun quote from the cultural icon and author Kurt Vonnegut, who said, "When I write, I feel like an armless, legless man with a crayon in his mouth." Imagine writing like that. So, we just have to embrace that uncomfortable spot of reaching for our aspiration gap. This is really being the sweet spot, as Daniel Coyle talks about in the Little Book of Talent. You stretch where you make mistakes, but you're getting you get better a lot faster than if you just do what's comfortable. So close that gap. Our fifth big idea is emulate. If you want to develop an authentic voice, you must first learn to be inauthentic. Todd says we need to immerse ourselves in the work of those people we really admire, our heroes, you could say. And we need to discern the qualities that make their work great and see how we can use it in our own life. And we need to emulate their work until we achieve mastery ourselves. We need to try, in a way, copying what they do and imitate it. Because then we will see what makes it so good. For example, in On Writing, Stephen King says that imitation preceded creation. He would actually copy these comics called Combat Casey or something, word by word, and he would add his own descriptions when he saw it fitting. And this helped him develop his own style and refine his technique over time so he could develop his own authentic voice. In his book, The Little Book of Talent, Daniel Coyle says that we each live with a windshield in front of us. And we need to fill up that windshield of people in front of us. And we need to fill up that windshield with people we admire. In other words, pictures of our future selves, vivid images of them. And then we need to stare at them every day. Because this actually sparks an unconscious motivation to stretch your abilities even more and close that aspiration gap. So, think about this. Who are your role models? And what is the daily activity you're going to do, taking 5 minutes, 10, 30, or an hour to emulate their work? Try to do the same as them, so you can kind of go in their footsteps and let their creative work rub off on you. And then, of course, if you do that for long enough, you will be able to develop your own authentic voice. So think about that. Your role models you're going to emulate, and this takes years. As you close that aspiration gap, it takes your whole life. U-shape, we all navigate it. We have peaks where everything seems clear, and we have valleys where we are wondering why we're even trying. But you just need to push through that. Run your race, not all the races that are crisscrossing yours. The people that might seem things that might seem so interesting at the time, but that is not really in line with what you want to create. As you develop your voice engine, our identity, vision, and mastery. Well, that was a quick look at Louder Than Words by Todd Henry. Yeah, so think about the idea that landed, and I would love to hear how you're going to apply it to your life starting today. Thanks for watching. Have another awesome day. See ya.